It was February 1st, 1922, and Los Angeles was unusually quiet that night. I sat behind the wheel of my motorcar in the Westlake district, engine idling softly, watching the street stretch empty and dimly lit by flickering lamps. Not far ahead, in a modest bungalow, a tall, lean man in his 40s moved inside the house, unaware of the danger approaching. Moments earlier, a young woman with delicate features and blonde hair had arrived and left, her posture restless, her hands fidgeting as she walked back to the car. I remained outside, invisible and alert, keeping track of the comings and goings. There was no scream, no sound that would have marked the violence unfolding inside. Yet I felt the tension in the air, the kind of tension that tells you something irreversible is about to happen. By morning, the man would be dead, and the city, the studios, and the nation would awaken to a murder that would shake Hollywood to its core. This is I Killed Here's Why, and tonight I will take you inside a night of silence, secrets, and a crime that still haunts history. William Desmond Taylor was a man whose life carried the weight of both accomplishment and mystery. Born in Ireland in 1872, he had moved to the United States and established himself as a talented actor and director in the silent film era. By 1922, he was one of Hollywood's most respected figures, known for his calm professionalism and his ability to guide young actors with patience. His reputation extended beyond the studio lot. He was considered disciplined, courteous, and meticulous, a man whose presence carried authority and quiet respect. Those who knew him often described him as private, almost elusive, preferring the order of work to the chaos of social spectacle. Yet he moved through Hollywood circles that were anything but orderly. William Desmond Taylor was a man whose life carried the weight of both accomplishment and mystery. Born in Ireland in 1872, he had moved to the United States and established himself as a talented actor and director in the silent film era. By 1922, he was one of Hollywood's most respected figures, known for his calm professionalism and his ability to guide young actors with patience. His reputation extended beyond the studio lot. He was considered disciplined, courteous, and meticulous, a man whose presence carried authority and quiet respect. Those who knew him often described him as private, almost elusive, preferring the order of work to the chaos of social spectacle. Yet he moved through Hollywood circles that were anything but orderly. Earlier in the evening, Taylor had received letters and correspondence, including personal notes from young actress Mary Miles Minter. These letters, later recovered by investigators, revealed a strong emotional attachment and admiration, though there is no evidence they played a role in the events that night. What is known is that by the time Mabel Normand departed, Taylor was alive, engaged in normal, quiet activity within his home. Police later confirmed this timeline through interviews with Normand, her chauffeur, and other associates, establishing a factual window during which the murder must have occurred. Taylor's personal life had been marked by both stability and secrecy. Though he was close professionally to actors and actresses and held in high esteem by studio executives, he kept his private life largely out of public view. The letters from Minter indicate that some in his circle had strong feelings toward him. But beyond the documents themselves, the facts show that nothing unusual occurred that evening until after Normand's departure. Investigators later concluded that he was alone in the bungalow during the window when the fatal shot was fired, though exactly who was present inside remains unknown. This is the only verified detail. After Normand left, Taylor did not receive another recorded visitor before his death. The calm of that evening, the predictable movements, and the apparent normalcy all make the moment before Taylor's death haunting. From my position outside, I saw the last confirmed visitor leave, the street empty except for my idling car, and the bungalow's lights glowing softly. I could sense the tension, even if I could not name its source. Every observation I made helped establish the timeline. Taylor alive at 7:45 p.m., Normand leaving, the bungalow quiet thereafter. That simple, factual window of time defines the final known hours of his life before the murder. After Mabel Normand left, the bungalow became quiet. From my seat behind the wheel, I could see the faint glow of the lights inside, but I could not see what was happening. According to what was later established by investigators and witnesses, William Desmond Taylor remained alive for a brief time, moving through his home as he did most evenings. Then, sometime after 8 p.m., he was shot once in the back at close range. There was no evidence of forced entry, indicating that the killer was either someone he trusted or someone he allowed inside. No one saw the shot fired, and no one outside the house heard it. From my perspective, the street remained silent, the air heavy with the normal sounds of a city settling into night, but unaware that a man's life had just been taken. The only indication of what had occurred came the next morning when his valet, Henry Peavy, discovered the body. The immediate aftermath was chaos cloaked in quiet for the world outside. Police arrived quickly the next morning, but the crime scene had already been compromised. Neighbors, reporters, and studio representatives had entered the bungalow, handling objects, moving papers, and touching furniture before the investigation could begin in earnest. The discovery of personal letters from Mary Miles Minter brought the story into the public eye with sensational headlines connecting Hollywood glamour to tragedy. Even from my limited perspective, as someone who had observed the last confirmed visitor leave, I understood that nothing I had seen or done would change the fact that the city, the studios, and the nation were about to focus on Taylor's death. It became clear that this was no ordinary murder. It would be a scandal that defined Hollywood and its public image for years. The murder created a ripple effect far beyond the bungalow. For the city of Los Angeles, it became a symbol of Hollywood's moral ambiguity and a test of law enforcement in a rapidly growing urban landscape. Newspapers sensationalized every detail, from Minter's letters to unverified rumors about jealousy, secret romances, and studio intrigue. For those of us working in Hollywood, including chauffeurs like me, it was a reminder of how close we were to events we could never fully control or understand. The city buzzed with speculation, the studios responded with careful public relations, and the national press transformed a local crime into a story that captured attention across the country. Even decades later, the murder remains a defining moment in early Hollywood history, showing how power, secrecy, and celebrity can intersect with tragedy. For me personally, witnessing the final moments I could see that night, and then observing the city's reaction the next day, left a deep impression. I had always been invisible in my role, a silent observer to the lives of powerful figures, but this event reminded me that proximity to history does not mean participation in it. I knew the timeline of visitors, I knew who left and when, but the crime itself remained hidden from my eyes. Yet the murder altered everything in its reach, the careers it touched, the reputation of the studios, and the broader perception of Hollywood. For the world outside Los Angeles, Taylor's death became a story of intrigue, secrecy, and the dangers that sometimes accompany fame. It underscored how quickly a single violent act can dominate a city, influence a culture, and leave questions that linger for generations. The motives behind William Desmond Taylor's murder have never been fully confirmed, though facts and evidence give us some boundaries. Investigators considered multiple possibilities. The letters from Mary Miles Minter revealed deep affection, leading some to speculate that romantic jealousy could have played a role. Her mother, Charlotte Shelby, owned a pistol of the same caliber as the murder weapon, and she was known to be fiercely protective of her daughter, though she was never charged. Taylor had close professional relationships with several actresses, some of whom had strong feelings toward him. Others suggested financial disputes, secrets from his past, or conflicts with studio personnel might have motivated the killing. Every theory has supporting evidence, but none was definitive. The single verified fact is that Taylor was shot in the back at close range while alone in his bungalow sometime after 8 p.m. on February 1, 1922. The investigation widened quickly. Police questioned anyone who had been near the bungalow that night. My own testimony as a chauffeur, noting who arrived and departed, helped establish the timeline, but it did not lead to a solution. Neighbors, reporters, and studio employees were all interviewed. Henry Peavy, Taylor's valet, drew suspicion for inconsistent statements, yet he was never charged. The public's fascination turned the murder into a national scandal. Newspapers speculated on jealousy, romance, and hidden rivalries, amplifying the story far beyond the city limits. For Los Angeles, this case became a test of law enforcement, a window into the secrecy and vulnerability behind Hollywood glamour, and a cautionary tale about fame, trust, and discretion. The murder reshaped lives and careers. Mary Miles Minter's rising career suffered under suspicion and public scrutiny, despite her never being charged. Mabel Normand and others, close to Taylor, faced long-lasting reputational consequences. Studios moved quickly to control the narrative, understanding that scandal could damage profits and public perception. For me, the experience was both professional and personal. I was trained to observe, to record movements, and to remain discreet. Yet being so close to such a famous and violent event left a lasting impression. The streets of Los Angeles, the studios, and the nation felt the impact of this murder, which exposed the vulnerability of Hollywood stars and the fragility of trust in an industry built on image and secrecy. Even beyond the city, the case became part of Hollywood's law, shaping the perception of the film industry for decades. It highlighted the dangers of secrecy, the influence of money and power, and how public fascination can transform a private tragedy into a national spectacle. The murder prompted studios to enforce stricter moral oversight, ultimately contributing to the creation of the Motion Picture Production Code, which shaped Hollywood content for decades. For ordinary citizens, the murder symbolized a collision of glamour and danger. For those of us inside the industry, it was a reminder that proximity to fame can also mean proximity to tragedy. You've been listening to I Killed Here's Why. Some murders are solved, some are confessed, but some, like William Desmond Taylor's, remain silent, leaving only questions, speculation, and the echoes of what was witnessed that night. History may never fully answer, but through these stories, we bear witness to the events, the people, and the shadows that remain.